Are you ready to dig into this whole CMT Music Awards situation?
Oh, yeah, definitely a lot to unpack here.
I mean, just think about it. They moved the event to Austin just last year.
Right, like it seemed like a really big deal for the city and for the awards themselves.
Exactly. And then boom, cancellation.
Yeah, just like that.
So obviously the big thing is this Paramount Global and Skydance Media merger, right?
Right, like that seems to be at the heart of it all.
For sure. So let's break it down for everyone.
Okay.
Sounds good. So first off, for anyone who needs a little refresher, these awards have been around for a while.
Yeah, they've got a pretty long history, actually.
Since like 1967.
Yep, they started as the Music City News Awards back then.
Wow, that is a long time ago.
It is, and they've gone through a lot of changes since then, different partnerships, name changes, the whole deal.
And now they're just like a huge event.
Yeah, like a staple in the country music world.
And I mean, you know better than anyone how big of a deal these awards are.
Oh, for sure.
Think about someone like Carrie Underwood.
Oh, yeah.
She's basically the queen of the CMT Awards, right?
25 wins. Think about that.
That's insane.
It is pretty remarkable. It really shows you how much these awards mean to the artists.
Totally. And like we were saying, the awards just moved to Austin for the second year in a row.
Right. And Austin's been becoming a much bigger player in country music lately.
Definitely. So this cancellation is even more of a shock.
You would think they'd want to capitalize on that momentum,
For sure. So let's get back to this merger thing for a sec.
Okay.
So we know that David Ellison, the head of Skydance, is now in charge of the whole shebang.
This new Paramount, yeah.
Right, and it seems like this restructuring is going way beyond just the CMT Awards.
It is. They're axing a bunch of other events, too.
Like what?
Well, the MTV EMAs are gone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and some of the Nickelodeon events, too, like the Mexican Kids' Choice Awards and MTV MIAWs.
Interesting.
But here's the thing. The big ones, like the VMAs and the main Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, those are safe for now.
So what's the deal?
It makes you wonder what their strategy is, right?
Totally. Like, why keep some and ditch others?
Yeah, it's a head-scratcher for sure.
Okay, so let's look at what Paramount's actually saying about all of this.
Oh, okay.
They put out an official statement,
Right.
and they used words like reimagine and optimize.
Interesting choices.
Right, like what are they really trying to say here?
What does reimagine even mean in this context?
Exactly. Is it about going digital, maybe cutting costs, or something else entirely?
We know Bruce Gilmer, one of the Paramount execs, mentioned something about reshaping their events in a memo.
Right, but reimagine, it's such a vague term.
It is.
Yeah.
Does it mean a total overhaul, a new format, a different target audience? Who knows?
Those are some pretty big questions.
Yeah, and we need to consider how all of this affects the country music world.
Absolutely. Like, what does this cancellation really mean for the artists and the whole industry?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
And it's a valid concern. These awards have been a huge platform, especially for up-and-coming artists.
Totally. It's not easy to replace that kind of exposure.
No, it's not. And then there's the whole ripple effect to think about.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, will the awards come back in 2026, maybe in a different form?
That's a good question.
And how will artists adapt to this new landscape? Will new opportunities pop up?
So many things to consider.
It really is a pivotal moment for country music.
It definitely feels like things are about to change in a big way.
No doubt about it.
And we're going to keep digging into all of it right after this break. This whole thing just shows you how much impact these huge media mergers can have.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet,
Right, it affects real people.
like all the folks in the country music world.
Exactly. The CMT Music Awards were a big deal.
Yeah, way more than just a show.
They gave artists a chance to really shine, connect with their fans, celebrate all their work.
And we can't forget about everyone behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah, all the people who make it happen.
Production crews, stagehands, stylists, caterers, everyone.
It's a whole ecosystem.
It's huge. And these awards were a big part of it.
Definitely. And now it's like someone just threw a wrench into the works.
Yeah, do you think this might actually force country music to finally embrace the digital world?
I think it's possible,
It might seem like a setback at first, especially for newer artists.
Right, they relied on that platform.
But maybe it could lead to something good.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Exactly. Maybe this will push artists to find new ways to connect with fans.
And the whole industry, too.
We're already seeing more and more live-streamed performances.
Oh, yeah, and those online fan experiences.
Maybe this will speed things up.
The digital world has so much potential.
It really does.
There are so many ways to share music, engage with audiences, build a community.
And don't forget about the fans.
No, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Country music fans are incredibly loyal.
They really are.
and they're passionate,
They've always been a driving force, you know?
keeping the genre alive,
Absolutely. They have a say in what happens next.
supporting their favorite artists, going to shows demanding more diversity.
Their voices matter now more than ever.
So maybe this cancellation isn't all bad.
It's a chance for growth.
For transformation.
The country music industry can step back, rethink things, experiment.
And come back stronger.
Exactly. We're in a period of transition.
And everyone needs to work together
Artists, fans, industry leaders.
and figure out what comes next.
The exciting part is we don't know what the future holds.
It's a blank slate.
Full of possibilities.
And in the last part of our deep dive, we're going to explore what those possibilities might look like.
We'll talk about the potential, the challenges, the innovations.
It's going to be fascinating.
Stay tuned.
All right, so we talked about a lot, but the big question is still out there. What happens next for country music after all this?
Yeah, where do we go from here?
Exactly. So let's think about some possible scenarios.
Okay.
One thing is, maybe this new Paramount
Mhm.
is just taking some time to figure things out.
Like a pause.
Right, and then they come back in 2026 with a whole new version of the awards.
They did use the word reimagine.
Right, maybe they're thinking about a totally different format,
A new focus.
a new platform even.
It could be a complete digital transformation
Imagine that, a totally interactive awards show,
with live streaming, fan voting, behind the scenes stuff.
reaching a global audience.
It makes sense when you think about how big streaming is these days.
Totally. Or maybe they partner up with a streaming service.
Like a collaboration.
That would be a big move.
It would.
Okay, but what if someone else sees this as their chance?
Oh, you mean like another network?
Yeah, or some other organization.
They could create a whole new country music awards show.
Fill the gap left by the CMT Awards,
And maybe they address some of the things people have been talking about.
like diversity and representation.
Exactly. It could be a fresh start.
A chance for the genre to reinvent itself.
Push boundaries and embrace new voices.
That's an exciting thought.
It is.
But we have to be realistic too.
What do you mean?
What if the awards just don't come back at all?
That's a possibility.
It would definitely be tough.
But maybe it would force country music to become more independent.
Not relying on one big award show.
Exactly. Forging their own path.
We're already seeing artists doing things their own way.
Independent releases, direct-to-fan stuff.
Using social media in new ways.
This could accelerate all of
A
that.
more decentralized industry.
Driven by the artists themselves.
And maybe that's a good thing.
It could be.
Embracing the digital world building, stronger connections with fans.
It could be a real turning point for country music.
A renaissance even.
Driven by independence, innovation, collaboration.
That's a powerful combination.
It is, and it makes this moment so interesting.
There's uncertainty, but there's also so much potential.
The future of country music is being shaped right now.
By the choices that artists, fans, and industry leaders make.
We're watching a pivotal point in its evolution.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It has. We've looked at the history, the merger, all the possibilities.
And I think the biggest takeaway is this.
What's that?
The power to shape the future of country music lies within the community itself.
Well said.
So here's something to think about.
Okay, I'm listening.
Could this be the moment that pushes country music into a bold new era?
Or will it be a missed opportunity?
It's a question for everyone who cares about this genre.
What do you think?
That's all the time we have for today, but thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you learned something new and that this sparked some interesting thoughts.
Definitely.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the music playing.